Welcome, everyone, to Young at Heart, session number 145. I'm Father James DeLucia with the Paulist Fathers, here in our parlor, ready to offer you nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, Mother Goose, Aesop's fables, limericks, larks, and other things to keep us all young at heart. Today I'm going to offer part 2 in my series on African American folk tales, and also part 2 of our first story entitled How the Sky God Stories Came to Be Known as Spider's Stories. Spider is our main character. He's a human being and a spider, also going back and forth between the two personas, if you will, or sometimes, just one. He's called Spider no matter what form he's in, although his human name is Kwaku Ananse, or Spider. Kwaku Ananse. And Aku, also, he's called Aku for short. He wants to get the stories from the gods. He goes to the sky god because stories are what illuminate life and offer wisdom and contemplation. He could ask the god for just facts, but facts can easily dry up. A story will keep us pondering, engaging heart, mind, imagination, body, soul, and spirit. The great value of stories, appreciated by peoples of all localities and ethnic groups. So, if you were with me yesterday, we heard Kwaku Anansi speak to the sky god, and he's told to appropriate 4 particular items. And do you remember what they are? The first 2 he was able to gather already. The first was a python and a group of hornets. And in addition to those, he has to also get Osebo the leopard, a fairy named Moatia, and he's going to throw in his old mother just for his own benevolent sake. Now, it seems a bit odd. My sense is it's because his mother is very elderly and she's probably ready to go to the heavens. But we don't know that. We also can see from this that Kwaku Ananse is also a bit of a trickster in that great tradition of tricksters. So he's already given the god, the sky god, the group of hornets, which he captured in a gourd, and he's given him the python, which he was able to trick by trying to measure the python to see if he was the longest of all, and he wraps him up and brings him there. So now we'll go after the other items, and then in a very clever way, every time he brings an item to the sky god says, "There, my hand has touched them." What he's presented. My hand has touched them, but there remains what still remains. I love that. But there remains what still remains. In other words, give me more. Okay. So Spider came back again and spoke to his wife. Another very important part of the story, I'm sure you picked it up, that he doesn't have, as clever as he is, he needs collaboration and he needs the insights from the woman spirit. Well, embodied spirit, she's a person, his wife. So he comes back to his wife and says, "There remains Osebo the leopard." And his wife, Aso, says, "Go and dig a hole." Ananse said, "That's enough. I understand." Then Spider went off to look for the leopard's tracks, and once he found them, he dug a very deep pit and he covered it. Then he went home early the next day when objects started to become visible. Spider said he would go out, and when he was moving along, lo and behold, a leopard had landed into his pit. Anansi said, Little father's child, little mother's child, I told you not to get drunk, and now, just as expected, you have become intoxicated. That's why you fell into the pit. If I were to agree to lift you out this very next day, if you saw me or any of my children, you would run after them and catch them. The leopard said, "Oh, no, I would never do such a thing." Anansi went out, and he cut 2 sticks. He put one here and one there, and he said to the leopard, "Put one of your paws here, and the other one there." The leopard placed his paws where he had been told. As he was about to climb up, Anansi lifted up his knife, and in a flash it descended on the leopard's head. "Gow!" was the sound it made. The leopard landed in the pit, and "Foo!" was the sound of his falling. Anansi got a ladder to climb into the pit so he could pull the leopard up. He got the leopard out and went on his way. He said, "Fool, I'm taking you to exchange for the stories of the sky god." He lifted up the leopard to go and give to Neame, the sky god, who said, "My hands have touched this. What remains still remains." Spider came back and carved an Aku's child. He tapped some sticky fluid from a tree, and he plastered this sticky fluid all over the doll's body. Then he pounded some yams and put them in the doll's hand. He tied some string around the doll's waist and went off with it and put it at the foot of an odum tree, the place where fairies come to play. And a fairy came along, and she said, "Akua, may I eat a little of this mush?" Anansi tugged at the string, and the doll nodded her head. The fairy told one of her sisters, "She says I may eat some." The sister said, "Eat some then." The fairy finished eating and thanked the doll. But when she thanked her, there was no answer. The fairy said to her sister, "When I thanked her, there was no answer." The sister of the fairy said, "Slap her crying place." So the fairy slapped the doll, and her hand stuck there. She said to her sister, "My hand is stuck." And her sister said to her, "Well, take your other hand and slap her on the other side of her crying place." And she took it and slapped her, and pa, this hand stuck too. It stuck fast. The fairy said to her sister, "Both my hands are stuck now." The sister said, "Push it with your stomach." So she pushed it with her stomach, and her stomach got stuck too. Anansi came and tied her up, and he said, "Fool, I have got you. I shall take you to the sky god and exchange you for his stories." And he took her back home with him. Well, how do you think this is going to end up? And what do you think that first great story will reveal? Only time will tell. And if you have the time, I hope you'll set some time aside for me tomorrow for session number 146. Thank you so much for joining me today. Meanwhile, keep safe, stay healthy, wear your masks if you go out, and take those blessings from above. They're just being showered down for you. Bye, everyone. God bless.